And hello and welcome to Talkin Thru Your Kick, Australia's one and only show dedicated to life on the punt. I'm Russell Barwick, and was it a good weekend? Was it a bad weekend? Let's find out from our resident experts. We're -1 today. Neil Evans is otherwise detained, so he's taking the weekend off, and we'll get him back next week. But Brent Zarafa, Caulfield Cup Day, how was it? Good, bad or otherwise?
G'day Russ, g'day everyone. Great to be here in Melbourne. Caulfield Cup Day was a great spectacle from the punt on my perspective. It was awful. I did my Khyber at Randwick. It was
just
no
noticing.
Good.
Only the one successful plonk at Randwick.
Yeah, no, not a good day at all at Randwick. Certainly wasn't one of my best.
Okay, well, you can always butter up Geelong, then Moonee Valley, etc.
It's a long campaign, that's certainly the case.
Quinn, you've got a smile like a winner at the moment. Am I talking Saturday night winnings or Saturday afternoon winnings?
I'm just happy the show's done out of Melbourne now. Welcome to paradise, boys. You must be up and about to be down in this wonderful city. Caulfield Cup Day, always a fantastic day, and this year was no exception.
Yeah, 8 degrees and balmy in Melbourne at this time of the year. Hopefully, somewhere along the next couple of weeks, we'll see some sunshine, particularly for the Cox Plate and, of course, Derby and Melbourne Cup. Now, plenty to come on the show, but as usual, rap or slap time. I'm going to kick it off, and I'm going to give the thumbs up to Les Bleus. Yes, the French, and they've done it again, of course, with Dunedin, but the statistics are unbelievable. They have won, what did we work out?
8 races.
8 races, and in fact, every time a French horse is in a race in Australia, they've won. And the only time that they've got beaten is when another French horse has beat them, i.e. last year, Americain, and yesterday, well, Caulfield Cup Day, of course, with Americain again. So a fantastic performance by the French trainers, and I think the Australians could probably bring in a few French trainers rather than French horses.
Yeah, well, they don't even come for their own races. The trainer of Dunedin, he flew in last week to watch the horse in track work, then he had to head back to France. Still did the job.
There was a reasonable meeting on, I think the sponsor was involved.
Yeah, it certainly was. But,
what about you, rap or slap?
I'm going to give a slap to Darren Gauci. He got brought up to Sydney off the bench because James McDonald was suspended. So we give him a little bit of a slap as well.
Dare to Dream?
Dare to Dream and Shelford. Wasn't a great result. Both heavily backed and both didn't perform as admirably as we'd hoped.
And it's completely the jockey's fault.
I think he got a long way out of his ground on Dare to Dream, and he was chasing on Shelford. I just didn't like either ride.
Okay, fair enough. Talk through your kick. You're allowed to do that, and we'll show you our email and Twitter addresses very shortly. Nicholas.
I'm going to give a big rap to Brenton Advella.
Or Abdullah. Keep going, mate. You'll get it right eventually.
A big push for Brenton. Ex-St Beats boy. He was that smart at school. After year 9, he said, I've learnt enough. I'm going to go be a jockey. Fantastic winning double at Caulfield on Saturday. The track where he cut his teeth for Maloney's, learning all about it, and it was fantastic to see.
He was smart enough to leave school, but 15 years later, you're not smart enough to get his name right.
It's a very tricky name.
Let's go back to the Caulfield Cup. It was a fabulous day's racing, record crowd, and a huge performance from Dunedin. We pick up the highlights, the replay, with about 600 metres to go, and boys, Dunedin is following everybody else who at this stage has already gone to Gowings chasing the leaders, and at this stage Glen Cadham Gold in all sorts of trouble, Valerici gone, December draw going backwards, and the runs come from down the outside.
Yeah, well, the race changed complexion really quickly there, Russell. At about the 600 metre mark, you saw December draw get off, and he looked to be travelling enormous. Michael Rodd took the decision to come out from behind the leading pair and really looked like he was going to challenge, but then he punctured pretty quickly. The runs started to come, and then Alcopop loomed. From where I was watching, I thought, well, he's home, he can't get beaten. And then all of a sudden, you've seen this little yellow horse flush down the outside. Craig Williams, one of his best rides I think he's ever produced from barrier 22. And for mine, it was won in the first 200 metres.
We'll go back to that, but away from Dunedin, and you can see the performance, and it was an easy performance, very much like the one last week with Karen McAvoy and Shawadi. But the run of Americain, when will this bloke learn to ride with a little bit of cover? Well, he let Alcopop go round, and then he had to go round him again.
Yeah, it probably wasn't the best ride, and we've said that a couple of times now. But how many times are we going to say a perfect ride in a big race from Craig Williams? Because every time these days he rides in these big races, whether it be on Pinker in the Cox Plate, and now he's done it 3 times on Dunedin. He just is an absolute superstar.
Well, you go back to the start. Explain what you mean by that. They jump, he's wide out wide, obviously in the yellow, and Craig Williams just goes, I'm off.
Well, it come through about 15 minutes before the race. A notification come through at Caulfield saying that Craig Williams is going to ride right back to last on Dunedin. And he did it perfectly because he made the decision straight away from barrier 18 of 18. He cut right across the back of the field, straight onto the fence, got the horse settled, then followed Alcopop into the race from the 1,000-metre mark, got off its back at about the 400, and it's all over.
Few unlucky stories in the race. Let's quickly go to the corner, and I am definitely talking through my kick here. Lee and Shannon Hope would probably be still having nightmares. Folding gear. Benny Mellum had ridden this a treat, pushed into the race at the right time, just went for the run that closed, stood up. Look, he probably wouldn't have won, but is he going to run second or third?
Well, we never know.
Unbeaten at Caulfield.
Yeah, but this is a different class up to 2,400 metres. Yeah, no, but you're talking through your kick, as you say. But I thought Lights of Heaven's run was fantastic. She got into a little bit of traffic also coming around the turn as December Draw come back. She never really was able to accelerate right from the time where she wanted to build momentum. But I think you can't really make too many excuses. I think Terry Bailey's talk before the race to the jockeys to make sure they're all on the job work, because I don't think there was that much interference.
Okay, and away from the top four, is there anything that you're happy with out of the race that was a solid run?
Oh, well, it's a billionaire running into sixth. It was obviously a big run. I thought it would have been lovely to sneak a place for the punters on at a big odds, but I don't think I've ever seen such a clean Caulfield Cup. I mean, going to that first turn especially, it was like all the jockeys had worked out the speed map and said, all right, let's be good boys and do everything accordingly, because it was just so clean.
OK, well, let's have a look. This is a graphic of the horses in their finishing order of the Caulfield Cup and where they're going to next. And, of course, Dunedin going to the Melbourne Cup. We all know that. And so too Lights of Heaven. Alco Pop's in the paddock.
Yeah, he's gone straight out. He wasn't even nominated for the Cup.
American, My Quest for Peace is a billionaire, all to the Melbourne Cup. Folding Gear, Sneaker Peak, both
gone.
Well, if they're not gone, they're not going to the Melbourne Cup.
Exactly.
Winchester, Sanagaz, Niwot, Jackalberry, Mudra's 28th, but there's a big question mark there.
There's a bit of a question mark. I think I wouldn't be backing it just at this stage for the Melbourne Cup. Wait for the next couple of days.
Glenn Cadam Gold can't turn around and go.
On the back of that performance, it's hard to say that he could. He looked to be punctured a long way out. Jimmy Cassidy seemed to think that he just wasn't up to his best on the day. Whether he can bounce back, Gay's done it before, but geez, it'd be a big performance, especially coming from a horse who's come a long, long way in one preparation. He come from a midweek race at Canterbury to starting favourite at Caulfield.
And
of course, a lot of
course,
flack to Glenn Cadam Gold for yesterday, but this horse had had 2 grand finals going into the race. Had been one of the success stories of the spring. And I think in 12 months' time, when they can train him specifically for a race like this, knowing he's already qualified, I think we'll see a different horse.
Jimmy didn't go too fast, I didn't think, did you?
Well, it's hard to say. I don't think they looked to be going very fast, but the leader, it ran 15th. Voilichi was running second run last, and December Draw was running third run second last. So Dunedin was back last and was able to finish over the top of them. Looking at the results, it seems to think maybe they did go quick, but the time suggests that they weren't going that hard.
OK, here's another Luxbet scenario for you. These are the Melbourne Cup odds, as you can see on screen. And you've got Dunedin now, $6 favourite, which is probably the price. He was $8 last year when he won, and we didn't see him until Geelong, which is coming up. Mount Athos, who's apparently far better than My Quest for Peace and also Gatewood, $8.50. American, 10. Green Moon, 10. Red Cadeau, 12. Briganton, who still has to qualify,
yeah,
$15.
Well, he's on the edge. If I'm on Briganton, I'm thinking that he'll get a run, regardless of whether he wins at Geelong.
$15 Shawadi, Tactra Boyston, 19. Galileo's Choice, 21. Lights of Heaven, My Day at 21. And the reason I put those up there is because this might be the best bet of the millennium. It was $1.90 on the weekend, overseas horses versus Australian trained horses. It's now $1.55, $2.45.
Yeah, our great friend Neil Evans was mentioning it last week on the show, and hopefully a few of the punters got involved. But when you start to look at the horses at the top of the market, you've got Dunedin, American and Mount Athos running for you, let alone...
You've got 7 of the top 9 are overseas.
And what do you get?
$1.55.
And we're claiming Tacta Boyston because Mick Kent now trains, but...
Well, he's ours. I don't care who you are. He's ours. Let's have a look at some of the big bets out of the Caulfield Cup, and the punters were on song. If you back Dunedin, won there $5,000 at $15 on Dunedin. There's a massive...
That was the top fluctuation, so it's definitely a big drift, Dunedin, especially after the big money plunge early in the week, but it just goes to show how much punters can be scared of barriers.
8,000 each way, My Quest for Peace. A little unlucky, I thought.
His run was fantastic, and I think it probably just got to the front a little bit too early. Corey Brown was exposed and then just got over racing. Not over racing, but it needed to hit the front, I think, about the 200 metre mark.
But in Corey's defence, I don't think he would have thought the lead
no,
would
I'm
capitulate
not
like
saying
I
that he
didn't
had
think he'd
anything
fall
wrong.
on his lap. No,
exactly. They all
10,000
just come back.
Americane, 5,000 Alco Pop. You had the tickets spent.
Imagine that at the turn.
And 15,000 Glencadam Gold. And what about this, Nick Quinn? If I asked you, in fact I did, I know the answer to this. I asked you at the start of the show, off air, how many from the Caulfield Cup have gone on in the last 10 years and run a place in the Melbourne Cup? And you said, oh, heaps. No, one. And that was Ethereal.
Don't
way back
recall
in
saying heaps.
2001.
Yeah, look, you'd think that the form line would be better from the Caulfield Cup, and only Ethereal's gone on to run a place. But there has been a lot of horses coming out from the Caulfield Cup that run a lot better come Melbourne Cup Day, and obviously the one that springs to mind is the mighty mare Mackay Diva.
Okay, some posts on our website, puntersparadise.com.au. Some fantastic competitions leading into the Melbourne Cup, of course, and the Cox Plate with that Luxbet tipping competition each and every week. Have a go at this guy. The Mighty Hustler, he might be the best in the world. He's got Dunedin into Mount Athos at 108s, Red Cadeau at 204s, Galileo's Choice at 250s, Shawadi at 1200s, and the Dunedin double. He was complaining that he's got the $19 early shaved, so it was $38. He got it shaved into 19s.
Oh, poor
so
bugger.
he's
After all those doubles, surely be able to find something there, you'd like to think.
Does that count as the early crow, though, going through and
No,
talking
I
about
don't
all
think
the bets?
that's- I don't
Hang
think-
on, last week you were saying that
No,
counts as
no.
an early crow.
Well, he's got one leg home and his next leg's... I don't think that's an early crow. I'm
Hang
just
on,
saying...
have we got the tape from last week? You are contradicting everything you said.
This is an early crow from Sam's Town. Got Dunedin with Green Moon for the Cox Plate Caulfield Cup double. Sorry, the other way around. With both of those into buffering for the Manikato and all three into It's a Done Deal for the Derby. Could be a sensational sprint. He was going all right until that last line.
Could be a sensational
Could
spring.
be a sensational spring. Tell you what's going to be sensational, of course, is the Geelong Cup on Wednesday. Looks to be a very small but elite field. Maybe
Certainly
only
does.
half a dozen or so runners.
Yeah, certainly does. And I think the key runners here are Tack to Boystron, now, as you mentioned, trained by Mick Kent, Briganton and Gatewood. We saw Gatewood, how unlucky it was in the Herbert Power. He gets his chance, but I'm sticking with Briganton. Saw it out at Werribee yesterday. He wasn't going very fast, but he certainly did look in good order.
You're a Briganton or a Tactra Boystron fan?
I'm probably going to back them both.
We've got to back Briganton because he's overseas trainer. Now that Tactra
He's
Boystron...
French trained.
Is now that... Oh, well, please, let's just jump on the froggies.
Exactly.
It should be.
French.
What's French for Geelong?
Oui.
Cup.
What's French for Geelong? I don't even think the Geelong people know what French is for... let's go to a break here on Talking Through Your Kick, and if you missed out on last year's Geelong Cup winner or last year's Melbourne Cup winner, let's have a look at Dunedin doing what Duna does best.
Lucas Krennick hit the lead. Red Cadeau coming down the outside. Dunedin is coming through in the middle. Dunedin, Red Cadeau and Lucas Krennick. Dunedin is coming hard. Dunedin, Red Cadeau. Dunedin and Red Cadeau, they hit the line. A photo finish between Dunedin and Red Cadeau. Nothing in it.